Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf, CHULLIN Memtes. We begin on the 8th line off the top of the Amud with a story. Ahikashisa, there was a story about a pit of a date, which was discovered in the gallbladder of the shechted animal. The shtakach was found b'mar in the gallbladder. Now this relates to yesterday's discussion. We found a needle. We found all kinds of places. Now the question was, where did they come from? So, unless they have a GPS tracker to track the route, it could have come from several locations. It could have been ingested with the food, right? And then it would cause trouble because how did it end up in the liver? How did it end up in the gallbladder, in the lungs? It must have traveled through the veshet, food pipe, then made a hole in the wall and made its way through the body of the animal into the other organ, into the lung, into the liver, or in this case, into the gallbladder. So in that case, the animal would be a treifa if it took that, yes, puncture route, but it could have also been inhaled. Unlikely, but it could have happened into the trachea, into the windpipe, and then slid through the ducts, through the channels, through the arteries, in this case, into the gallbladder, in which case it didn't really cause any damage on the way, and the animal's kosher. So which way? Amar Rav Kahana, when we were learning by Rav Kahana Omar, so he was discussing this shaila, and he says, Havadai, in this case you can be certain, Simpoina Nakat Vaso, you travel through the Simpoinas, through the ducts, and ended up in this location. Why? Why couldn't it have taken the damaging, the unsafe route that makes it a treifa? The answer is, we're talking about a pit. We're not talking about a needle. A needle can punch through and make holes, but a date pit is rather blunt. We can safely assume it took the safe route. Now, there is one difficulty, because afagav, the nafka, even though you see it doesn't really have enough room to move through the duct. It can barely, it's just stuck there. You can't get out of it, right? Nevertheless, we can assume that it came through the duct system, mirabahu the karavale, because the animal, due to its movement and its activity, the shaking activity, slowly but surely, pushes this pit forward until it got to this point, but it never caused any damage. Mirabel hudu rabile. Vanimila de dikla. It's only by the pit of a date, where, as we said, it's rather blunt. We presume it traveled the safe route. Aval de zeisa, but an olive pit which is rather sharp on the edges, at the points. If there's a buzz, in this case, you have to assume that it made a hole through the system. It was ingested with the food and made its way towards this area, causing great damage and making the animal treifa. Okay, now just an anecdote regarding the lungs of an animal. Actually, they're very healthy. How did they get the name Reya? Reya comes from Re'iyah, vision, sight. It brightens one's eyesight, enhances one's eyes. The question is, just eating it plain, or together with some other magic ingredients? Just eating it plain, or do you have to mix other ingredients into the mix, and that combination is what causes this benefit. Tashma, comes a raya. Sometimes you find that a full duck, goes for a zuz, $1. And its own lungs are sold for $4. Now, if you can derive that said benefit from just from eating the lungs plainly, why spend $4 on the lungs? You can eat buy a whole duck with its lungs for $1 in total. Linkat bezuzah, just take it with one zuz, eat the whole thing. Apparently, The answer is because when they sell the lung, it's for its medicinal purposes together with those special ingredients. And that's when it's helpful. Okay, back to the hole that was found in the lungs. In Kiva Reya, let's say the Reya was punctured, and it was discovered where there's handling. With the butcher, with the people, when they take apart the animal, they handle, or they move it around. So they pull out the lungs and they see there's a hole. Question: when, how, where, who's at fault? Was it there during its lifetime, or did it happen now due to the mishandling of the lungs? Talinan, can we blame it on the butcher or not? Rab Ada Bar Nosson Amar, he says Talinan. You can attribute the hole to the handling of the lungs, and it happened post shechita, the animal's kosher. However, Mazutra, Bray, the son of the Rav Mari, Amar, he says, we can't blame it on the butcher. Famous trade. Talinan, the halacha is we do blame it on the butcher. Amar Rav Shmuel, Bray, the Rabbi Avo. He says like this: Abba, my father, of course, whose name was Rabbi Avo, right? Mireshe Kale, he was one of the head announcers, the Rafram of Hava. So the Rosh HaYeshiva, the Rav, would have a person with a loud voice standing next to him to call out to yell out what he was saying during the shir, and he had the following first-hand quote from Rafram, V'amar Talinan, we attribute it to the butchers. Now, Amrul al-Kamei, so when this opinion of Rafram, that you can blame it on the butcher, was told in front of the Mazutra Beder Rav Mori, who a minute ago said we can't blame it on the butcher, like Kibli didn't accept it. He stood his ground. Avram Rasharshia, you should know, Kavasei, like, and according to the opinion of Davua, the father, the Abba of my father, who was Rav Acha, that was his name. According to some Girsis, it was Rav Acha earlier who says he could blame it on the butcher. I think that's the correct approach to things. Mustafa, why? The Talina was we find elsewhere regarding halachas of treifa that, let's say, the intestines were grabbed and brought back by we blame the puncture on the wolf who grabbed it, who clawed it, rather than saying it was there beforehand. So you see that when it comes to matters of treifa, we look at what seems to be more probable, and that plays a strong role. The wolf that clawed, or the tabach that took apart the animal after shechita. Next question. Murana. You find a worm eating its way out of the lungs after shechita. Question is, when did that hole develop? Before shechita, in which case the animal's treifa, or after shechita? There's machlokes pligi bo Rav Yosef bar Dusai between him and the Rabban. Chad Amar, one opinion is koydem shechita parish. We have to consider the possibility that in fact it happened before shechita and it's a treifa. V'chad Amar lach shechita parish. No, you can know with certainty that it happened only afterwards. And the first explain because of the intense, activity, the movement of the lung, inhaling, exhaling that's happening during the animal's lifetime. Unlikely that the worm would be able to do its thing before shechita. The conclusion is la'achar shechita parish. In fact, we assume what happened after shechita, and the animal's okay. Now, in terms of a hole in the lungs, Reb Shimon Omer asher tinokev, it's only an issue if the hole goes all the way through to the ducts that travel through the lungs. Now, which duct? Any duct? Amar Rabba v'tachlifa, Amar Rabba, the main trunk. Asher tinokev pangadol. The issue is only if the hole goes all the way through to the main trunk inside the lung. Now, do we pass like Reb Shimon? Do we adopt this opinion, which is a leniency, or not? Yosef Rab Acha bar Abba Kami was sitting in front of the Rav Huna Yosef Kami, he was saying over the name of Amar Rabbi Maluch, that was his name. Amar Shimon Levi, that in fact halacha is like Reb Shimon. Unless the hole goes all the way through, it's not an issue. Amalei, so he responded, he says, which Rabbi Maluch? Maluch, the one Arva that lives in Arabia, Garmers, that's the one? But he's known to have said just the opposite. Ein halacha Reb Shimon come. He's the one who says we don't pass on Reb Shimon. So we have a little bit of a confusion here. What happened? Kisolek Rabbi Zera. In fact, when Rabbi Zera traveled up there to Israel, Ashkechei he encountered Rav Bivi, who was sitting and saying over Yosef Amar. What was he saying? Amar Maluch, Amar Shimon Levi. The same idea. Halacha is Rabbi Shimon that we are lenient. Amar Leis Reb Zera says to him, Chai Damar, I swear in your life, meaning there's a lashon of shvuah, a strong shvuah. Then actually, I have first-hand knowledge that it's not so. Dano, because I, V'Rab Chia bar Abba and him, V'Rab Asi and Rab Asi, Iklain Lastre, we encountered the locale, the village, the place where the Rabbi Malach where he lives. And we asked him straight out, did you say or did you not say? I Amamar, did the master say Halach Rab Shimon, as you are being quoted? V'Amarlan, he says, you got it right, except for one word. V'Amarlan, Ein Halach Rab Shimon Amri. I said, we do not go like Rab Shimon. So, Rab Bivi asked Rab Zera, okay, what's your position? What do you hold about this whole discussion? Amarle says, Hachi Amar B'Yitzchak, Bar Ami, Amar Rab Shimon Levi, Halach Rab Shimon. We actually do pass on Rab Shimon. But the Gemara actually concludes otherwise. Ve'ein halacha, we do not pass on like Rabbi Shimon. So in fact, if there's any hole in the lung, even if it's not through and through, it's possible. Next item on the list is nikva keva. Keva, as we know, is that abo mesim, that fourth, roundish, banana-shaped stomach. And we're going to sort of digress to the halachas of chelev and then come back to treifas later. We know that within the animal, a chaya, that all the fat is kosher, is mutter to eat. But by a behema, some fats are forbidden. Basically, the ones that are meant for the mizbeach. Torah says it goes on the mizbeach and you can't eat it. Versus certain fats that are permitted. In rabbinic terminology, in the Mishnayos and the Gemara, we differentiate between chelev and shuman. Chelev is the parts that are the parts that are asur, forbidden fats, and shuman relates to the fats that are permitted. Now, how do we know what's what? So in the Torah we have a model. Torah says, look, the chelev hamachases hakerev. The chelev covers the stomach. And then it says, Eis kol hachelev asher al hakerev, which comes to add a little bit more. That's considered for the mizbech. You don't eat that. And we learn any chelev that compares to that, that's similar to that specific chelev and its characteristics, is considered chelev, which is asur. Otherwise, if it's lacking those elements, lacking those features, it's mutter. Okay, so nikva keva. The keva got a hole, it's a treif. Amar B'Yitzchak, Bar Nachmani, Amar Beish. Chelev shal gabi keva. What about the chelev that's sitting on that keva? Is it asur? Is it mutter? HaKohanim nohagu bo heter. The Kohanim consider it to be mutter, and they would eat it in accordance with Rabbi Shmuel, like Rabbi Shmuel, Sha'amar Mishma Vayis, according to his father, his parents, his ancestors, that was his tradition. That in fact, this is of the permitted variety. V'simanech, a good way to remember who's the one who permitted it, Yishmael, who in fact was a Kohen Gadol, right? Rabbi Shmuel ben Elisha, Kohen Gadol, famous story, Gemara in Brachas, where he went into Kodesh HaKadoshim, and Hashem says, bless me, give me a bracha. Okay, so Rabbi Shmuel was Kahana, himself was a Kohen, Misayeh Kahani, who seeks to help his fellow Kohanim. As we're going to see a little later, why he got that title, and in fact over here as well. He's allowing them to eat this chelev of the karbanos, which benefits them. Where's that other incident where he helped his kohanim? The Sunday we have a brayso regarding birchas kohanim. Pasuk says, Israel Amar lahem. Hashem says, go here, this is the way you bless Klal Yisrael. Says Rabbi Shmuel Aimer, Lamadnu bracha Yisrael. So this pasuk is a source for the kohanim giving a bracha to Yisrael. From the kohanim. Who's going to bless the kohanim themselves? They also need a bracha. We have the next pasuk there. I will bless them. Hashem Himself will give them a bracha. We learn from here that it's a chain system. Kohanim mevarchim Yisrael. Kohanim bless Klal Yisrael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives a bracha mevarch leKohanim. Rabbi Akiva Omer, he learns a bit differently. Lamadnu bracha liyisrael pikohanim. From the first passage we learn how the Kohanim give a bracha to Yisrael. What about a bracha to Klal Yisrael from Hashem? Comes the passage which says, teaches us that in fact Klal Yisrael gets a double bracha, one from the Kohanim and one directly from Hashem. Kohanim mevarchim Yisrael, that's number one, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu askim al yad, Hashem agrees with them, confirms it. As per the pasuk Vani, Hashem says, Ani avarach, I'll confirm, I'll add, enhance the bracha that they already got from the Kohanim. Okay, so there's machlokes in the meaning of the pasuk Vani avarachem. According to Rabbi Shmuel, it's referring to Hashem giving a bracha to the Kohanim. According to Rabbi Akiva, Hashem giving a bracha to Klal Yisrael. No, Rabbi Akiva, bracha l'Kohanim. According to Rabbi Akiva, who says Ani avarachem is going on the bracha between Hashem and Yisrael. Where's the bracha to the Kohanim? Amar Rachmar Yitzchak. We have a pasuk back by Avram Avinu. Hashem says, whoever gives you bracha will be blessed by me. The Kohanim will give bracha, they get Hashem's bracha automatically. I will bless, those who bless. Okay, so ultimately, everybody's getting blessed. So why are you considering Rabbi Shmuel as the one who helps the Kohanim and benefits them? Umay, what does that mean? Misayeh Kohanim. The answer is like this. There's a nuance, there's a slight difference between the two approaches in terms of the quality of the bracha given to the Kohanim. The mukila, because according to Rabbi Shmuel, he relates, he latches on lebrachas Kohanim bimkaim bracha Yisrael, together with the bracha of Yisrael. So within the same brachas Kohanim, there's a double layer bracha taking place. One is between Kohanim and Yisrael, and then the Kohanim themselves get a bracha from Hashem. It's one package, it's one experience. Together with Klal Yisrael, that's how the bracha comes. Whereas according to Rabbi Akiva, it's based on a different bracha, a whole different thing. It's a separate bracha, it's not one enhanced, community-wide bracha. And that's why Rabbi Shmuel is called Messiah Kohanim, because he gives them this privilege, this perk, this bonus of getting blessed together with Klal Yisrael. Okay, now let's go back to the shayla of the chelev, right? Chelev on the daken, according to Rabbi Shmuel, b'shem avosav, it's mutter. Now what's this machlekes based on? Rabbi Shmuel, sh'amam b'shem avosav, mahi, where do we find this halacha, the sanya? The pasuk says, you are makriv the chelev amachasas hakerev, the chelev which covers the stomach, and then it says ve'ez kol hachelev asher al hakerev, which is adding something, whether it's the extra vav, ve'ez, okay. We turn to my base. What's that coming to add? Lahavi chelev shal gabe dak. It's covering for the chelev, which is over the daken, the intestines. That's also considered forbidden fat, similar to the one on the stomach. Divrei hushita zeh Rabbi Shmuel, but not the chelev on the cave, right? That's Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva omer lahavi chelev shal gabe cave. It's coming to add the chelev on the cave. Okay, so here we go. According to Rabbi Shmuel, chelev on the cave is mutter, as we said before. Ask the Gemara, really? But in the next brisa, they seem to say exactly the opposite. Rabbi Shmuel seems to say it's asr, and Rabbi Akiva says mutter, ramini. As a chelev asher al hakerev, Rabbi Shmuel, there's a case of Rabbi Shmuel omer. He says, what constitutes forbidden fat? It has to contain the following elements. It has to feature as follows. It's meant to be similar to the chelev on the kerev. Rabbi Shmuel omer, ma chelev amachasas hakerev. What's unique about the chelev on the kerev? Kruam. It has a membrane on it, v'niklav, which can be peeled off. Af, kol, kruam, v'niklav. Likewise, any chelev which features this type of phenomena is considered asur, including the chaylev on the keva, which has these two features. Oh, so according to Rabbi Shmuel, it's aser. The opposite, what he said before, that it's mutter. Rabbi Kiva, I mean, no, chaylev on the keva doesn't fit the criteria. Why? According to me, you need three conditions. What's unique about the chaylev on the kerev? Toisav, that's another condition. Toisav means it's like a sheet, like a garment spread out on the organ beneath it, which can be sort of peeled off as one piece. It's not like granules and toisav. And then you have the krum v'niklav, afkol, likewise other fats, which feature these three characteristics. You know they're us. Afkol, toisav, krum v'niklav, as opposed to the chaylev on the keva, which doesn't have toisav. It's piecey, it's granular. No, so here we have an exact opposite configuration of the machlokes. Shalach Rabban sent a message, a solution, Mishmei, the name of Rabbi Yochanan. He says we have to flip around the names. Kachi Hatzo Shamishna. The second version is the correct one. We have to flip around the first brisa. So Rabbi Shmuel is the one who says Asur, and Kiva says Mut. How do you know which one to flip? My chazas, who's to say the achas kamaisa, you switch around the first brisa, a babas brisa, maybe switch around the second one. No, shani yacha kivnik tani mad dafka. Since in the second brisa, the choice of words seem to be very accurate. It says ma, just like the chaylev of the kerev is such and such. So unlikely, there's a mistake there. It seems to be the more accurate version. It seems to be dafka. If we have to switch, it's the first one. Oh, says the Gemara, if that's the case, Rabbi Shmuel is the one who says chaylev on the cave is asur. So back in the beginning of the sugi, we said Rabbi Shmuel that the kahanim eat this chaylev like Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Kivi. Actually, it's Rabbi Kivi, not Rabbi Shmuel. Amar Rav Nachman Yitzchak Shama Misham Avoisav V'lei L'Sfira Lei. It was Rabbi Shmuel quoting his Avoisav. They were matir. He himself, his personal opinion is that it's asur. But when the Kahanim eat this chaylev, it's because Rabbi Shmuel quoted his father that it's okay. Amar Rav. Here's an interesting phenomenon. A distinction between chaylev, which is mutter, which the Gemara calls tahar, means that it's mutter to eat, and the chaylev, which is tamei, which is asur to eat, regarding the ability to plug up a hole. You see, the chaylev, which is asur, which is tamei, as we said before, is more of like a rigid type of thing. Right? We call it toisav, right? It's more like a sheet. In which case, it doesn't really blend into the material, it doesn't really sink into the hole to plug it up properly. Whereas chaylev tahar is a more gooey, elastic type of substance, which could plug up a hole properly and seal it in a manner that corrects and rectifies a potential treifa situation. Amar Rav chaylev tahar soisem. If it sinks into the, if it is flush to a puncture in the neighboring, organ in the animal, it does affect the proper seal, and the animal's kosher. Whereas, tamei, the non-kosher fat, soisim can't do that. Rav Shesha Samar, it doesn't matter. Whether it's kosher or not kosher, soisim, it can plug it and seal it properly. But Rav Zeir, what about the chaylev chayamai? You say that the permitted fat has that ability. What about a chaylev of a chaya? As we said before, in a behemoth we have different sections, parts which are chaylev tar, part which is tamei. But by the chaya, even that specific chaylev on the stomach, let's say, which if it was by the behemoth would be asur, by the animal, the chaya, it's mutter. So can that plug up a hole? Rashi explains Reb Zeir was not yet aware of this the material difference between the consistency of the both types. So he was just asking sort of, is this the formula? Tahar is soisim and tamei is not soisim, so the chaylev of a chaya, wherever it is in the chaya, is always going to be soisim. Oy Rav Zeir. Chaylev chaya mai. What's the halacha of the chaylev of the chaya? Dafka amar chaylev tar soisim. Was he specific when he says chaylev tar, which is soisim, so it covers all the chaylev by the chaya, v'ainami toiru, all the chaya chayas chayil b'star, oy dilma or mishum de mahadik. Maybe there's more to it. It's not just when you tahar your seisim for some, mystical. There's a very practical, physical explanation, because the chayil of tahar is more gooey and more adhesive, and it plugs the hole and seals it. V'aylei mahadik. But this section of fat found in the chaya, which if it was by the behemoth would be asur, that type, which features the more rigid type of presentation, that's not going to plug it properly. Amr Abai responded, of course, you're right. What's the question? Sure, all types of fat in the chaya is mutter. It doesn't mean that it changes its nature in terms of plugging a hole. Aduki loy mahadik. The chayil of the chaya, that same type, if it were by the behemoth, it would be asur. Just because by the chaya, its mut doesn't change its elasticity and doesn't make it a proper sealer. How nekav, there's a story of a hole. The sasma chayil of tamid, that in fact was plugged by chayil, which is tamid. That's coming to Rava. It was brought to Rava. Rava, what's the problem? Why should we be concerned? Chada, first of all, Rav Sheshes Amar, Rav Sheshes chayil of tamid amisaisim. Unlike Rav, who made that distinction, Rav Sheshes says all types of fat can properly seal and plug a hole. Furthermore, you have to be careful with either shegelat. So we find the Torah endeavor to preserve property of Klal Yisrael. So we're not just going to, prohibit the animal and discard it. Amalei Rav Papa, he asked the question of Rava. How is this money-saving factor a factor at play? Look, we have on the one hand Rav, who says that it's asur v'isur d'oraisa. So we're dealing with a question of a possible isur d'oraisa, and you're injecting this financial consideration into the equation. But Amras, you're saying Torah chasa al maman Yisrael. That's not a factor at play in this type of shayla. Interestingly, there was another story with a similar type of expression. Menyuman, that was his name. He was a pitcher dealer, kanduka. Iglile bistika, deduv. She had a bistika, a container of honey, and it was exposed to the elements. And we know that once liquids get exposed to the elements, there's always a concern that perhaps a snake came and drank from it and ingested its venom. You keep away. But this wasn't really liquid. It was honey. No, the Rava came to Rava with a shayla. What should I do? Amar Rava. My nechusha says Rava is a concern. Chada, first of all, now we have a mishnah that although we have 8 primary liquids that are classified as liquid, but only 3 of them pose a snake concern. The snan, only 3 are concern us if they're exposed. That's the wine, hayayin, v'amayim, and water, v'chalav, and milk, which would attract a snake. But the other liquids, v'sharkal, mashka, matern, okay, even though they're exposed. So there you go. Honey is not an issue. Furthermore, ha-Torah chasa al maman Yisrael. We're not meant to just, freely discard money. You have to, Amalei Rav Nachman Yitzchak l'Rabbis. He came to ask him the same question. He says, Reb Shimon v'sakaras nefashos. We all know Reb Shimon disagrees with that halacha. He says even honey poses an exposure concern, and in that case, we're dealing with a question of a sakaras nefashos, life-threatening question, and you're injecting the financial aspect. But Amras HaTorah Chasam Moshe Yisrael, has that a factor at play? Okay, once we're on this topic, Reb Shimon, where do we find Reb Shimon applies gilu even to honey? The sign you have a braysa chamisha emem shem gilu. There are 5 liquids which have no gilu concerns. Tzir, that's like the pickle juice. V'chaymetz, vinegar, shemen, oil, dvash, honey, umurios, the fish juice. So snakes don't take well to these things. Shimon Omer, afhein, yesh b'em shem gilu. Gilu applies to these as well. In fact, I have a first-hand story. I myself witnessed. I once saw a snake, he drank pickle juice, salty juice, but Sidon in the town of Tzidon. You see that he does drink. Amrullah, they says Shahat Yaba. He was a silly snake, a deranged snake, not a normal snake. And it's an anomaly which doesn't really concern us. Vein Mevin Rayim Nashad, you're not being a raya from Shaitan. Okay, now back to that back and forth between Rava, who was not concerned, versus Rav Nachman Yitzchak, who was concerned. Amalei says Rava to Rav Nachman, Oidi li miyas betzir. You're obviously adopting the opposing view of Shimon, who applies gila to all the, but at least agree to me when it comes to the tzir. Because of its saltiness and its acidity, it's gonna, even if there was any venom in there, it burns it out. In fact, the Rapapa, we have a story, whenever they encountered an issue of gilui, liquid which may have been visited by a snake and may contain venom, what did they do? To neutralize that venom, they poured it into tzir. Mixed it with tzir, which neutralizes the venom. Nachman responded, please agree to me, at least when it comes to honey, that it is a concern, even if you'll disagree regarding the rest. Why? We have another shita that backs up Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon Elazar also Kaikavasei goes with that mindset. The Sanya, V'chein Hoyer Reb Shimon Elazar Isa B'Dvash. He disallowed exposed honey. Amar Nachman Chaylev Ha'asuk Koiva. The chaylev presents like a dome. That's the way the chaylev and the animals configured. That specific type of chaylev certainly is Eino Yisaisim, doesn't have the ability to plug a hole because of its shape, because of its lack of elasticity. Where do we find this type of chaylev? Amrila, some say chiti de karkashta. The chaylev, granules over the karkashta, which is the final section of the intestines, which expels the waste. But Amrila, some say it's referring to tarpasha the liba, the fat over the heart, which is shaped like a dome, which doesn't. Amarava. One more point. Shamis mined Rav Nachman Tarti, regarding the halachas of chaylev, and specifically the chaylev on the keva. There are really two types of chaylev there. As we explained, the keva is like a banana-shaped organ, like a semicircle, which features two layers of fat. One on the bottom beneath, so let's call it the exterior fat, which is flush to the outside of the banana, right? So it's like a semicircle. It's like the bow, right? The bow of the bow and arrow. And then we have another layer of fat on top of the banana, which is more like a straight line almost. It's like the string of the bow. The bottom is called the akashta, right? Keshes, like a bow, and the top one, the straight one, is called the ayatra. Ayatra is a string, a rope, like the string of the bow. Reb Nachman told me that one of these can plug a hole effectively, and one cannot. I'm not sure which one is what. Amar Rav Shamas Minei Rav Nachman. I heard from Rav Nachman Tarti two halachas regarding the two types of fat on the keva, chimtza, bar chimtza. One is called chimtza, one is called bar chimtza, like the son of chimtza. Chad sasam, chad loy sasam. One can plug, one cannot. I'm not sure which one's what. I'm not sure which one's what. Rav Nachman Amar, he said like this. I'll explain to you. Bar chimtza sasam. The bar chimtza can plug a hole effectively. Chimtza loy sasam. But the chimtza does not do a good job. Amar Rav Tavas. Says Rav Tavas, a good way to remember this, v'simanech, yafe koich haben koich ha'av. There's a Mishnah actually in Shvois regarding financial matters, but we're applying it here as a simon. Sometimes the son can be stronger than the father. The bar chimtza, which sounds like the son of chimtza, the secondary fat, is stronger and more effective than the father and the chimtza himself. Now, which one is the chimtza? Which one is the bar chimtza? Right? Once we established, bar chimtza, yeah, chimtza, no, but where are they? Hi chimtza, hi bar chimtza. Which one's what? Tashma Rav Nachman. So, as we explained, there was a big shaila regarding these fats. Are they mutter? Are they asur? So, Rav Nachman says like this. Rav Nachman, inu. So they over there in Eretz Yisrael, he lives in Bavli. Those people in Eretz Yisrael, meichal achli. They don't hesitate to eat it. For them, it's considered mutter. According to their shita, that fat is okay. It doesn't fit the criteria of chaylev asur. It's mutter. Now, although we refrain by us in Eretz Yisrael, by us in Bavli, we don't eat it. Well, machmer. Done for us, mistam nami lo sosim. We turn to the next page. It's not even going to plug. I mean, okay, the fact that we refrain, we don't eat it, but let's at least consider it. Like chaylev Torah regarding the ability to plug. We don't rely on their minhag or machmer, but at least regarding the plugging ability. It's elastic. It's pluggable material. Okay, so as we're going to see in a minute, the discussion, the machlokes, regarding between Eretz Yisrael and Babel related to the ayatra, to the one on top, right? And Renachman is saying it certainly has the ability to plug. Okay, so there you go. You're wondering which one does, which one doesn't. Apparently it's the ayatra which plugs, but the akashta does not. And the Gemara explains that akashta kulam lepligi the asur. All agree that the akashta is asur, whether in Babel or Eretz Yisrael, because as Rashi explains, it has all three conditions: toisav, krum, v'niklav, like we said before. The question is regarding the ayatra. And Rashi explains because the ayatra only had two features. It was krum v'niklav, had the membrane which is peelable. It didn't have the toisav feature. It wasn't like flat like a sheet, which of course was the subject of machlekes before we turn to Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Kiva. Rabbi Shmuel says even without that it's asur. Rabbi Kiva says you need the toisav as well. So that was machlekes. Whether we pass on Rabbi Shmuel or Rabbi Kiva. There's another version of the machlekes. The yatra kulam lepligi the shari. All agree the yatra is okay because we go like Rabbi Kiva. We need three conditions, and this one doesn't have toisav, so it's mutter. Lepligi with that kashta. The question is regarding that kashta. Rashi explains. Although you need three conditions, you need the krum, niklav, and toisav. The question is whether this thing actually is toisav, whether it represents like a one unit, like a sheet. Some say it is, some say it's not. And that's the basis of the machlekes. Okay, so bottom line, at least according to the first lashon, there was a machlekes regarding ayatra, right? In Babel, in Eretz Yisrael they ate, in Babel they did not. Kihad Amar Avya, as per the story, Rav Avi tells us the story. Amar Rabbi Ami. Rabbi Ami Mekamson. Rabbi Ami who lived in Eretz Yisrael, Mekamson, they would feed him the yatra. Mekamson means they would just clip off a little bit from the side where there was real chaylev, and the rest he would eat. V'chein Rabbi Yanai. Likewise he said, Mishum Zaken Echad Mekamson. Amar Rabbi Avya. He says like this, Rabbi Ami. I was once standing there in front of Rabbi Ami. Kamson v'havali v'achal. They clipped off the corner there and they gave him the rest and he ate it. Shami the Rabbi Chanina who lived in Eretz Yisrael had an assistant who came from Babel. He was standing in front of Rabbi Chanina and serving him. Amalei, so Rabbi Chanina says to him, please clip off the corner, give me the rest. He notices that his helper was a little hesitant. He wasn't coming forth. Amalei says, I understand, because Bavlad, you come from Babel, and for you this is asur. You're accustomed to that practice, so I'm going to be sensitive to your customs. Gum shadi, cut it off and throw it away. We're not going to eat it today, out of deference to his minhag. Okay, that sums it up. We have a long blot today. We discussed the pits found in the gallbladder. Date pit is not an issue. The olive pit, which is sharp, is an issue. We had another kula. If the hole on the lung was found where it's mimash, where they handle it after the shechita, where it's pulled out and likely to have occurred through the mishmush, through the handling, then we blame it on that. We spoke about the timing of the murana. When did the worm crawl out, before or after shechita? Halacha was mekel, that it came after shechita. We discussed Reb Shimon Shita, the lung has to reach the big simpoin, and there was a question whether we paskin like that or not. Maskana was we don't paskin like that. We brought the discussion regarding Bechas Kayhanim. Ultimately, everybody gets blessed. The question is, according to what system? And we discussed the rule, general model of Chaylev Asur, which was subject to machlekes, 2 conditions, 3 conditions, Rishmor, Akiva. I mean, an interesting add-on regarding Hilas Treifas, that the Chilaf Tar presents a little bit more elastic and more gooey, which allows it to sink into the hole, the nekev next to it, and seal it and properly. Whereas Chilaf Tummy doesn't have that ability. We discussed we discussed the exposed liquids, and the Chilaf on the Keva, the Chimtza, and the Bar Chimtza, an interesting machlokes between Bavli and Yisrael, and how the various tzaddikim conducting themselves. Okay. All the best to you, B'suras Tevis, and much, much Hatzlacha.